What are those 16th century English playwrights called who were educated at Oxford or Cambridge universities? Answer is University wits. Prominent members of this group were Christopher Marlowe, Robert Greene and Thomas Nash from Cambridge and John Lilly, Thomas Lodge and George Peel from Oxford. Who is sometimes included in the group of university wits? Answer is Thomas Kidd. In which year the Great Theatre, the first theatre of England, was established? 1576. What is the first drama in English literature? Answer is Ralph Royster Doyster. Who was the literary collaborator of Thomas Norton? Answer is Thomas Sackville. Who wrote the tragedy Gorboduc in 1561? Thomas Sackville and Thomas Norton. When Gorboduc was performed? Answer is 18th January 1562 in the Inner Temple. What is the other name of Gorboduc? Ferex and Porrex. Which poet is called the poet of poets? Answer is Edmund Spenser. What is the biggest unfinished epic poem written by Edmund Spenser? Answer is the Fairy Queen. What type of literature is Fairy Queen? An allegory. What is the name of the collection of 89 sonnets by Spenser? Amoreti. What is the verse form invented by Spenser for his sonnets? Answer is Spenserian sonnets or stanza. Immerito is the pseudonym of which writer? Edmund Spenser. Which book Edmund Spenser dedicated to Sir Philip Sidney? The Shepherd's Calendar. Which elegy was written by Edmund Spenser at the death of Philip Sidney? Astrophel. Who was Edmund Spenser's patron? The Earl of Leicester. Who is known as Child of Renaissance? Spenser. Edmund Spenser wrote the 4 hymns in which year? Answer is 1596. The hymns are Hymn in Honor of Love, Hymn in Honor of Beauty, Hymn of Heavenly Love, and Hymn of Heavenly Beauty. The prince of the poet of his time. On whom grave the inscription is given? Answer is Edmund Spenser. Who was an English poet, courtier, scholar, and soldier of Elizabethan period? Sir Philip Sidney. What is the famous book of Sir Philip Sidney published in 1590? Answer is Arcadia. Philip Sidney was born on 13th November in which year? 1554. Greville was biographer of which writer? Answer is Sir Philip Sidney. What type of literature is Astrophel and Stella of Philip Sidney? Answer is collection of sonnet. Who is the first great English critic poet? Sir Philip Sidney. Who wrote an apology of poetry? This is also Philip Sidney. Who told marriages are made in heaven and consumed on earth? John Lilly. Who wrote Friar Bacon and Friar Bungay? Robert Greene. Who began the tradition of revenge play? Thomas Kidd. Thomas Kidd achieved great popularity with which of his first work? Answer is the Spanish tragedy. What is the other name of the Spanish tragedy? The Revenge tragedy. Who translated the Iliad and Odyssey by Homer into English? George Chapman. Who was the son of a rich London merchant and born in 1557? Thomas Lodge. Who is considered to be the father of English prose? Francis Bacon. Who wrote the books Novum Organum and Of Death? Francis Bacon. What type of literature was written by Francis Bacon? Essay or prose? Who was an English philosopher, statesman, scientist, jurist, orator, author, attorney general, and Lord Chancellor of England? Francis Bacon. Who said, reading maketh a full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man? Answer is Francis Bacon in Office Studies. From which work the quote, some books are to be tested, others to be swallowed, and some to be chewed and digested? Office Studies by Francis Bacon. From which work the quote, studies serve for delight, for ornaments, and for ability comes from? Of Studies by Francis Bacon. From which work the quote, it is impossible to love and to be wise, comes from? Of Love by Francis Bacon. From which work the quote, a friend is another himself, comes from? Of Friendship by Francis Bacon. From which work the quote, revenge is a kind of wild justice, comes from? Of Revenge by Francis Bacon. From which work the quote, wives are young men's mistress, companions for middle age, and old men's nurses, comes from? Of Marriage and Single Life by Francis Bacon. From which work the quote, unmarried men are best friends, best masters, best servants, but always not the best subjects, comes from? Of Marriage and Single Life. Who said, opportunity makes a thief? Francis Bacon. Who wrote History of Life and Death? This is also Francis Bacon. Who is called the father of English tragedy? Christopher Marlowe. What is Christopher Marlowe's nationality? British. When Marlowe was born? In 1564. What was the occupation of Christopher Marlowe's father? Cobbler. From where Christopher Marlowe received Bachelor of Arts degree in 1584? Cambridge University. Who was the greatest dramatist of English literature before Shakespeare? Answer is Christopher Marlowe. Which is Marlowe's first play? Tamburlaine the Great. One of the Marlowe's earliest published work was his translation of the epic poem Pharsalia, written by which Roman poet? Answer is Lucerne. Marlowe's poem, The Passionate Shepherd to His Love, begins with the line, "Come live with me and be my love." Which other English author wrote a famous poem beginning with this line? Answer is John Donne. In Marlowe's play, what was the name of the Jew of Malta? Answer is Barabbas. Which king was a subject of a play by Marlowe? Edward II. One of the Marlowe's most famous poems published in 1598 was an account of which lovers? Answer is Hero and Lander. After the death of Christopher Marlowe, who completed his unfinished poem Hero and Lander? Answer is John Chapman. Marlowe's play Tamburlaine the Great was based loosely on the life of which Asian ruler? Answer is Taimur. What was the title of the play by Marlowe that portrayed the events surrounding the Saint Bartholomew's Day massacre in 1572? Answer is The Massacre at Paris. In the title of Marlowe's play, where was Dido the Queen? Answer is Carthage. Which of the Marlowe's plays were written in collaboration with Thomas Nash? The Tragedy of Dido, the Queen of Carthage. What was the first published title of Christopher Marlowe's play, The Jew of Malta? The famous tragedy of the rich Jew of Malta. What is the full name of Dr. Faustus by Marlowe? The tragical history of the life and death of Dr. Faustus. In what country is Dr. Faustus based? Answer is Germany. When is it estimated was Dr. Faustus first performed? In 1594. At which famous university is Faustus a scholar? Answer is Wittenberg. Faustus' servants share his name with a famous German composer. Who? Answer is Wagner. Faustus asks two magicians to aid him in summoning the devil. What are their names? Valdes and Cornelius. Through his magic, Faustus was visited first by which of devil's angels? Answer is Mephistopheles. How many years of happiness was Dr. Faustus promised by devil? Answer is 24. What does Faustus promise to the devil in exchange for the great knowledge, riches and power for the period of 24 years? Answer is his soul. Which qualities would most accurately describe Faustus' character at the beginning of the play? Answer is arrogant. Which powerful figure does Faustus ridicule with his newfound powers? The Pope. At the end of the play, where was Faustus dragged down? Answer is to hell. Who is considered to be the true founder of English drama? Christopher Marlowe. What type of non-rhymed poetry did Christopher Marlowe pioneer? Answer is blank verse. How did Marlowe die? Answer is by stabbing. At what age did Christopher Marlowe die? Answer is 29. Who is known as the king without a crown in English literature? Answer is William Shakespeare. Where Shakespeare was born? Henley Street, Stratford upon Avon, Warwickshire, England. In which century was Shakespeare born? 16. William Shakespeare was born in which date? 23rd April 1564. His actual date of birth remains unknown but is traditionally observed on 23rd April. When William Shakespeare was baptized? 26th April 1564. Which river is associated with Shakespeare's birthplace? Answer is Avon. What was the nationality of William Shakespeare? Answer is English. What is William Shakespeare's father name? Answer is John Shakespeare. He is an alderman. What is William Shakespeare's mother name? Mary Shakespeare, the daughter of an affluent land-owning farmer. William Shakespeare was dash child of John and Mary. Answer is 4. William Shakespeare married to Anne Hathaway in which year? 1582. William Shakespeare married to Anne Hathaway at which age? 18. Anne Hathaway was how many years older than Shakespeare? Answer is 8. How many children did Shakespeare have? Answer is 3. Shakespeare's first child, Susanna, was born in which year? 1583, after 6 months of their marriage. In which year twins were born and named Hamnet and Judith? Answer is 1585. Shakespeare joined the Chamberlain's main theatrical company as what? Answer is playwright and writer. After how many years of his marriage, Shakespeare left his native town to try his fortune in the great city of London? Answer is 4. By which year Shakespeare had established himself in London as an actor and dramatist? This is the question you have to answer. Try to answer the question or watch our next video. Thank you.